This movie was really good. It has Brendan Fletcher. He plays a person named Krampus. He's in a lot of horror movies. He was in that awful Leprechaun movie. And Ginger Snaps, which didn't really care for. Well, I honestly think he's a pretty good actor. Just gets bad draw of things. He's pretty cool in this movie until his death. It was kind of lame. He was funny. Had some funny moments. Probably my favorite of the robbers. And then he gets beat up by a bratty child, a girl that wants money, and someone that's just the typical, wife that divorced husband because he got too obsessed with insert thing. So she doesn't have that much character. The husband doesn't have much character either. And yeah, he gets killed by those three people. We also have the one dude that's an Ant-Man. It's also in The Menu, which I watched recently. Makes another weird joke. I didn't mention it in The Menu, but he makes a joke about it wasn't really a joke. He says something about racism. He's like, well, when I win my award, I'll talk about how racism isn't cool and shit like that. In this movie, he makes fun of people that say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. Never understood why people have such a big problem with that. It shows that you don't care. Because what's wrong with saying Happy Holidays? There's nothing wrong with saying Merry Christmas. But do you not hear the word Merry? You're supposed to be saying this not as just an expression to be nice to someone. You're supposed to be trying to make someone happy. Hence why it's Happy Holidays. They're both happy terms. Not everyone celebrates Christmas. Perfectly fine to say Merry Christmas to your friends, your family, anybody like that. The reason people say Happy Holidays is why are you gonna fuck with a stranger, mess with their day, and then tell them something they might not even celebrate? It's weird. It's why Happy Holidays was created. So, I thought it was a dumb line. I don't know why he has all these lines in these movies. I'm starting to think maybe he's asking to have them put in there, bro. It's weird. Anyways, let's talk about the actual movie now. So basically, Santa Claus is real in this universe. He's starting to lose the Christmas spirit, and it's a rated R movie, but surprisingly decently wholesome. And yeah, he goes into one house and finds these cookies, eats them. They have a funny gag about how the milk tastes like shit because obviously you would leave the milk all night. By the time he gets there, and it wouldn't taste good. It'd rot, or whatever you call. Oh, it's spoiled. Spoiled milk. That's what it would be. It was pretty obvious. Should have known. Anyways, and the house he goes to gets broken into it because it's wealthy, and they know this chick has like $300 million in a vault. They have inside people there that work. There's two things that I thought were dumb that I want to mention before I forget. They have security there. They got the big bad dude, Mr. Scrooge, cornered. All of the criminals have names based off Christmas stuff. Frosty, Krampus, Candy Cane, Scrooge, shit like that. This dude gets cornered. They both have guns. And they're like, he's talking shit to him, and then they kind of just let it roll off them. They're not impressed. Like, get him. And then they try to fight him hand to hand. So obviously he gets fucking killed. Santa knocks the gun out of this one dude's hand that he's fighting, and he doesn't try and pick it up. He just still tries to fight him. Eventually he does pick it up, but he can't figure out how to use it. You also get surprisingly a lot of backstory for Santa, though, all of it not making the most sense. I still don't understand how you can have a Santa Claus existing in the real world, but the parents not know Santa Claus exists. They say something about grown-ups not believing in Santa or whatever. Eventually they get the safe open and we find out that one of the sons stole the money. And he has all of it hidden in like a haystack. They don't tell us how. They have security detail, stuff like that. And, password resets, stuff like that. They just don't explain at all how he was able to get $300 million out of there. And also, that one whiny girl that's trying to get rich complains that they burned $500,000. Yeah, that's a lot of money for anybody else, but did the movie just forget that there's 300 million there? You didn't even burn $1 million, bro. Why are you complaining? I do have one thing that I thought was pretty cool, but then eventually I didn't care for. It was like Santa, the first two people he fights, he doesn't do very well against. One of them was an extra. Didn't have really any lines, I don't think. He didn't have any lines during the fight scene, at least. He wasn't really important. I don't really remember him until the scene Santa fought him in. And, he's struggling, obviously, because it's Santa Claus. He delivers presents, not fighting people. So he struggles, obviously. He also fights this other dude. He struggles against him, obviously. And he ends up getting lucky with both of them and killing them. He almost gets killed by the second dude. He gets cornered, has a gun pointed towards him, but he plugs in a Christmas tree decoration that he had stabbed the dude with, so that the dude gets electrocuted. It's way more brutal than that. Anyways, eventually we find out that in his past, he was like this murderer, killed a bunch of people, had this hammer called Skull Crusher, and that was just kind of his thing. And he was greedy and stole money and shit. Soon as we find that out, he kills a whole extraction team. And he doesn't really struggle that much. Except for the last dude, because, plot armor. It was very weird. Why were they... Because I actually kind of like the struggling thing. Maybe if he beat the shit out of him, it would have been confusing at first. And then we find out later that he has a history of fighting. Why would they make it that he struggles against these two dudes that really weren't that important? It kills an entire extraction team with ease. If we was just gonna be a good fighter and then just to pad in the runtime, I guess. Don't get me wrong, the fight scenes were awesome. They just don't make sense logically anymore because of what they established later in the movie. It's a pretty decent movie. The gore is pretty good. I didn't like the final, really not the final death, because there's another dude after him. But he kills the one Mr. Scrooge dude by going up a chimney with his magic, and like his head and stuff is gone. I don't know. I just didn't care for the effects on that one. Didn't really look the best to me. It's not something that looks terrible, but I just didn't care for it. So yeah, that was pretty much it for this movie. It was really good. Just some things didn't really make the most sense. It's a decently wholesome movie, if not for, all the violence. I also parody Home Alone, and that was really cool. It's something you gotta see for yourself. And though it was something that was stated in like near the beginning of the movie, so I almost forgot about it until she mentioned it again, because the little girl was a fan of Home Alone, because she watched it last night. And yeah, that's about it.